Dear students, you are welcome in my online teaching classes. I am Shishpal Chauhan and today I have brought The Midnight Visitor by Robert Author. This lesson is meant for the students of class 10 and the name of the book is Footprints Without Feet. This is summary of the lesson and you are watching the picture of Robert Author. Robert Author was born on November 10, 1909, Philippines, and he died on May 2, 1969 in US. Let's begin the summary of the lesson. In this story, we have three characters. Ozable is a secret agent who is some fat in body structure, speaks French and German, but still carries his American accent in his speech. Max is another secret agent, and Fowler is also a young and romantic type of writer. As the text of the lesson begins, we find two characters talking together while passing through the dusty and dark corridor of a cheap and old-fashioned French hotel. As we already know, that Ozable is a secret agent who had a call from a young and romantic type of writer named Fowler who wants to record an interview of Ozable as a spy dealing in espionage dangers. Ozable is at present telling Fowler that he must have felt bored in that cheap hotel in which he had to pass dull evening in a French music hall with a fat, sloppy man. As they reached the top floor, that is sixth one, Ozable unlocked a room in which he was staying. He himself stood aside to let the guest enter. During the process of opening the door and letting his guest enter the room, Ozable told him that presently he, means Fowler, was going to have an exciting experience of his life. An important paper would reach him in the room, and it was the paper for which several men and women have risked their lives. After some time, that paper may well affect the course of history. Saying all that, he closed the door behind him and switched on the light. The moment light spread into the room, Fowler had a real thrill of the day. A man stood just halfway in the room with a small automatic pistol in his hand. Ozable blinked his eyes in sheer surprise. For some moments he could not understand who that man was and wherefrom he had entered the room, as it was locked from outside. The man who stood with a pistol was Max, another spy, who wanted to snatch that important paper from Ozable. On being asked by Ozable what he was doing in his room, Max clarified his intention that he wanted to grab the report on a new missiles from him. Now it was really testing time for Ozable. He made up a quick plan to get rid of the intruder. He reacted in a very real and natural way. He didn't show panic. Rather, he sat down on an armchair, showing his anger not at Max the intruder, but at the management of the hotel. He uttered grimly, means seriously, "This is the second time in a month that somebody has got into my room through that nuisance of a balcony." There was a single window in the room and Fowler started looking in that direction where it was there in the wall. Ozable was trying to show Max that below that window there was a balcony that was used by some intruder previously also, but in reality there was no such balcony there. Max remarked that he didn't enter the room through the balcony, but by using a master key. He also said that it would have saved his trouble if he had known it before. After that, Ozable continued speaking on the topic of balcony and explained to him that it was the balcony of another apartment. In a way, he wanted to make Max believe that Ozable was really speaking the truth about the balcony and he was really showing his resentment towards the carelessness of the management, which had promised to block it off. Max stood stiffly with his gun like that, and these are two persons, Fowler and Ozable. He waved the gun towards Fowler and Ozable and told them to sit because they had to wait for half an hour. Ozable told him that would have to wait for 31 minutes, not 30. The appointment was fixed to take place at 12:30. at midnight. Then Ozabal asked him how he came to know about the report. Max also wanted to know how they got the report. In this way, Ozabal kept the man engaged in conversation. Suddenly, a knock on the door was being heard, and it startled Max, who at once asked him who could be there at the door. Ozabal very coolly replied that it was the police. He further said that as an important paper was reaching him, he had requested them to keep on checking inside his room to ensure that all was safe. Max was feeling nervous, and Ozabal very cleverly asked him what he could do then. He also told him if he didn't respond, the police would soon enter the room and would not hesitate to shoot him. Max had no choice but to jump out of the window on the so-called balcony. So he quickly moved towards the window and kept his pistol pointed towards Ozabal and Fowler. He ordered Ozabal to send the police away, otherwise he would shoot at them. Thus he kept warning them and swung his one leg over the window sill in order to wait on the balcony. He said, "Send them away," he warned. "I will wait on the balcony. Send them away, or I'll shoot and take my chances." As the knocking became louder and louder, Max swung his other leg down the window and grasped the frame with his free hand to support himself. Then the knob of the door turned, and Max, thinking it to be a danger to his life, jumped below the window to save himself on the balcony that was never there. As he dropped himself, he screamed only for once. The door opened, and a waiter stood inside the room with a tray, a bottle, and 2 glasses. "Here is the drink you ordered for when you returned," he said, and set the tray on the table, deftly uncorked the bottle, and left the room. White-faced, Fowler stared after him. "But," he stammered, "the police?" "There was no police," Ozabal sighed. "Only Henry, whom I was expecting." "But won't that man out on the balcony?" Fowler began. "No," said Ozabal, "he won't return. You see, my young man friend, there is no balcony." In this way, the lesson ends up at some suspense. Actually, there was no balcony. This was a made-up story by Ozabal. He used his presence of mind to get rid of the intruder. So, another time I shall come up with another lesson. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you all.